We never thought we'd see the unproblematic Kelly Rowland getting dragged, but here we are. And it's all because of Chris Brown.
Chris Brown! Now, Chris Brown is not here tonight, so I'm accepting this award on his behalf. Excuse me, chill out.
Kelly recently set social media alight after publicly defending Chris, and fans are calling her out for supporting someone with a long history of DV cases.
And he's banned in most countries across the world, and not just because of what he did to Rihanna. Rihanna's not the only woman he did that to. Someone said black women are always gonna stick up for black men. That's true. People are saying, I just don't know why the people are still mad at him. It was so long ago. Rihanna can sing Love on the Brain a billion times, and I'm still not gonna forget this man. I don't care. This man has abused multiple black women. I'm not standing up for this man. Sorry, I'm just not gonna do it.
But despite all this backlash, Kelly doubled down on defending Chris and went off on fans for trying to cancel her.
I have to know your thoughts on people bullying Chris. Is it sad to see?
You know what? I believe that grace is very real, and we all need a dose of it.
Now, this whole situation is very messy because, yes, everyone deserves grace, but it's not Kelly's place to forgive Chris on behalf of his victims. And also, when you think about it, Chris got off pretty easy considering that people like Kanye West are getting their whole careers destroyed over words alone. So who is right here? Kelly for saying we should forgive Chris, or fans that are saying that Chris should have never been allowed to make a comeback after what he did? Let's break it down. In case you somehow missed this whole story about Kelly Rowland and Chris Brown, the drama started after Chris's performance at the American Music Awards on November 20th was canceled at the last minute. See, November 18th marked the 40th anniversary of the release of Michael Jackson's classic album Thriller, and Chris, who is a longtime fan of Michael, was set to perform a Thriller tribute at the AMAs this year. But then, just one day ahead of his scheduled performance, Chris announced that the AMAs pulled the plug on him, and he shared a clip from the rehearsal giving fans a glimpse of what his performance was supposed to look like. Chris wrote in the captions, "You serious?" alongside a facepalm emoji, and in the comments he added, "Would have been the AMA performance, but they canceled me for reasons unknown." But fans had their own ideas about the real reason AMAs decided to cancel Chris's performance. Some people speculated that the AMAs wanted to play it safe due to all the child SA allegations against Michael. However, if this were the real issue, then why would the AMAs agree to let Chris do a Michael Jackson tribute in the first place and let him rehearse the whole thing until the very last day? Other fans said Chris's own history of DV probably played a role as well, with some people claiming the AMAs pulled Chris's performance after they learned Chris's ex-girlfriend, Karrueche Tran, would attend the event. Back in 2017, Karrueche was granted a 5-year restraining order against Chris after she testified under oath that Chris threatened her via text messages, telling her he will beat the shit out of her and make her life hell. According to court documents obtained by People magazine, Karrueche also claimed that Chris had threatened he would shoot her. He said that if no one else can have me, then he's gonna take me out, Karrueche said in her declaration. And this is the part about Chris Brown's problematic history that a lot of people seem to forget about, and it's also one of the reasons why people are dragging Kelly. See, the usual argument Chris's fans use to defend him is that Rihanna forgave him for what he did to her during their infamous 2009 altercation where Chris was 19 years old. Chris's fans claim that Chris has changed, and that since he's made amends with Rihanna, he should no longer be punished for something that happened 13 years ago. But see, many others have pointed out that Chris never suffered any real consequences for what he did to Rihanna and Karrueche, and he actually made a full comeback to the mainstream industry. And so this brings us to the whole Kelly Rowland situation. What Kelly did at the AMAs got a lot of people riled up, and now they're dragging Kelly for sticking up for Chris. On Sunday, November 20th, Chris won the award for Favored Male R&B Artist at the AMAs, and since he was absent from the event, Kelly accepted the award on his behalf. And as soon as Kelly read out Chris's name, you could hear loud boos from the audience, but Kelly immediately shut them down and told them to chill.
Now, Chris Brown is not here tonight, so I'm accepting this award on his behalf. Excuse me, chill out. But I want to tell Chris, thank you so much for making great R&B music. And I want to tell him, thank you for being an incredible performer. I'll take this award, bring it to you. I love you. Congratulations. And congratulations to all the nominees in this category.
But Kelly didn't stop there. Less than 24 hours later, TMZ caught up with Kelly in West Hollywood and asked her how she feels about people bullying Chris. And here's what Kelly had to say.
I have to know your thoughts on people bullying Chris. Is it sad to see?
You know what? I believe that grace is very real, and we all need a dose of it. And before we point fingers at anybody. We should realize how grateful we are for every moment that we get, for even our own things that we have. I just think it's important to remember to be human. We are humans,
And when the TMZ reporter asked Kelly if Chris needs to be forgiven, Kelly said everyone deserves grace and forgiveness no matter what.
yeah.
Do you feel like he needs to be forgiven for, like, you know, what he did? I mean,
You know what? We all need to be forgiven for anything that we could be doing, anything that we're thinking. We all come up short in some sort of way. And grace is real. And we are humans. And everybody deserves grace, period. Have a good day, honey.
I know you too, bye.
Now, you already know these comments caused a lot of controversy among fans on social media. One fan praised Kelly for putting her career on the line for Chris and wrote, "Kelly Rowland just risked her career for that Chris Brown shout-out. I'm so proud of the Black community for standing behind Chris in this AMA fiasco. Congrats, Breezy. You deserve the win, and everyone deserves a second chance. We love you." Other fans said that Kelly did nothing wrong because Rihanna forgave Chris a long time ago, and everyone needs to move on. Rihanna forgave Chris Brown over 10 years ago, one fan said. People need to move on. He made a mistake when he was 18. If Rihanna forgave Chris Brown, the whole world needs to. However, it looks like these fans are in the minority, and most people on social media are saying that they're very disappointed in Kelly because she should know better than to defend Chris for several reasons. To begin with, many fans are uncomfortable with Kelly defending Chris because she herself was a victim of DV, and it seems odd that she's being this vocal about forgiving Chris. One person wrote, "Kelly Rowland is a hypocrite for that, and I don't care to debate it. You aired out being a survivor of DV in your music, then publicly support a serial abuser? Girl, straighten up." And then there's this whole narrative about Chris being a changed man. And it seems like there's a lot of people that forget that Rihanna is not Chris's only victim, and just because she forgave him doesn't mean that everyone else should. See, Chris had many run-ins with the law in the years following the Rihanna incident. In 2012, he was involved in a fight with Drake's entourage that left 8 people injured, including San Antonio Spurs star Tony Parker, who had to have surgery to remove a shard of glass from his eye. Then, less than a year later, Chris was investigated for allegedly punching singer Frank Ocean during an altercation over a parking space. And Frank claimed Chris called him a homophobic slur and threatened to shoot him. That same year, Chris was involved in a hit-and-run incident in LA and sentenced to 1,000 hours of community service. But Chris just couldn't stay out of trouble for too long, so just months later, he was arrested for felony assault in Washington, D.C. after refusing to take a photo with a fan. Following this incident, the judge ordered Chris to stay at a Malibu rehab facility. But just weeks later, Chris was kicked out of rehab for acting violently and throwing a rock through his mother's car window. So as you can see, Chris has a long history of aggressive behavior. And this is why fans are saying Kelly should have thought twice before publicly defending him. One Twitter user said, "Kelly Rowland mentioning Rihanna only and none of the other people that man traumatized is so odd to me. When did we decide which victims at every level of victimhood, even if it's not attempted murder, were dismissible?" Many fans said it's not Kelly's place to tell others how to feel about Chris, especially since Karrueche was in the audience at the AMAs that night. On top of all that, there's also the fact that cancel culture is very selective, and a lot of people are pointing out that Kanye West lost all of his business deals for making controversial statements. But Chris was allowed to make a comeback after physically attacking multiple people and publicly disrespecting Black women. One fan commented, "The thing is, Chris Brown physically attacked Rihanna among other events, and he still got support from other women, even going as far as to blame Rihanna and say they wish they were her, and yet he is still in the media and gets much less backlash than Kanye. Confused." And another person wrote, "Kelly Rowland talks about giving Chris Brown grace for his abuse and assault against Black women. Why isn't she telling Jewish people to get over Kanye, or the LGBT community to forgive DaBaby? Because she knows she's out of line. It really be your own who disrespect Black women more than outsiders." Oof. But what about you? Who do you think is making more sense here? People who are saying that Kelly did nothing wrong and that Chris deserves forgiveness, or those who are dragging Kelly for defending Chris? Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in our next video.